There's a few ways to go green when you're shopping for a luxury SUV. One is to paint it green, like this nori green on the 2023 RX Hybrid. The other way is to make the whole car slower. This car versus the previous RX Hybrid is a lot slower, and it also increases fuel economy by a lot. This is their best-selling model. Lexus does not do anything else but sell RXs. And they do sell other cars as well, but this is #1. It is the most shopped luxury SUV really ever. So let me guide you through the changes and why you should consider an RX Hybrid. Lexus created the luxury crossover in 1998. 5 generations and millions of copies later, the 2023 RX pushes Lexus into trendy territory, for better and for worse. The regular RX 350 has a turbocharged 4-cylinder, not the small H RX 350. The Hybrid has a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4. It's shared with the Highlander Hybrid, and that gives you up to 37 mpg city, 36 combined. In my driving, I've actually been seeing those numbers and close to them even on the highway. That's quite impressive. Here's what's not: the horsepower and the torque. Those are way down from the RX 450h from last year, because that Lexus had a V6, which made a lot more horsepower even though it was detuned from the regular RX 350. So now when you see 350h, you're getting a lot less power, a lot less torque, but so much more efficiency. Every RX 350h comes with all-wheel drive because it's an electric motor on the back. So the front-wheel drive RX can't have it this way. If you want a lot more power, there's the RX 500h, and that one is an F-Sport model. It's got even more electric power from the motor in the rear, over 360 horsepower. Correspondingly, the fuel efficiency, way down. So that's now the actual performance model, even though there's no V6 anymore. When it comes to hybrids, take your pick. You're either getting high efficiency or high performance. You're not getting both at the same time. Lexus is reinventing the spindle grille all over again. I don't particularly love how this looks. I'll just be honest, I think it's trendy, I think it's gonna go away, and it's not gonna look as nice as other Lexus models have worn the spindle grille before. I don't like the solid, I don't like how it opens up. I just don't think it's really a great look for this SUV like the side profile. That one with the floating roof, and now with these 21-inch gray wheels on this top luxury trim, that looks classy, and I especially like it with nori green. So while I'm not a fan of the grille, the headlights are nice. These are triple beam LEDs. They're very bright, like any Lexus model with these headlights. Worth the option upgrade. And in the back, that's my favorite feature. What the front does wrong, the rear does right. I love this wraparound taillight that extends from either side. Other brands are doing it, but Lexus is doing it in a way that feels unique, especially on the side. These flanks look like cat eyes, kind of like Eartha Kitt a little bit. I just love that little jagged eye detail on this car. The rest of it is just nice sloping effect. It's tapered. It looks good because it's short. The front is a little stubbier. In the back of the RX, it looks sporty and luxurious. There's 30 cubic feet of space behind the seats here. That's way more than before. When folded, only 46, which is less than before. And in this size class, not a whole lot. But there's optional power folding seats that you can adjust from outside the car, from the front of the car on the touchscreen, and also on the side of the rear seats. That's pretty nice. Heated and ventilated front seats come standard, and these seats are truly luxurious. Like in any Lexus, you go the long haul with a car like this. All the colors also look very nice. The materials appear to be that way, but they're not. What Lexus calls ultra suede feels ultra cheap. It looks that way too, and it's on the doors and on the seats. So is the wood. It's no longer cut by a Japanese craftsman spending hours curving and inlaying all the features. These just feel like plastic, and they look pretty bad. The door handles are now door tabs. There's all this new technology inside, but really it's not the bastion of high quality, at least to me, like it used to be. Ordinarily, I'd say pick the light interior for the most luxury experience. But given how these materials feel, I'd actually opt for a darker looking interior with aluminum trim. You can find that on the F-Sport models. So my pick, try those. The best part of the back seat is what you don't see. Rear side thorax airbags mounted right here, not just curtain airbags. That's not a required feature in the US, and Lexus has had that since the last gen RX. Otherwise, you're getting tons of legroom, now a nice panoramic moonroof, and this model has heated and ventilated rear seats, and there's switches right on either side that let you power recline. You can really be in a ton of comfort, and these seats, they're almost as comfortable as they are in the front, which is not an easy feat. Lexus has a brand new infotainment system. This is the 14-inch, the standard one is a 10-inch. Wireless Apple CarPlay, but because there's no home button, there's only a volume knob and for front defroster and rear defroster. So the only thing you can do is hit this app. So when you're in the wireless Apple CarPlay mode, it's difficult to get out of that. But when you actually want to adjust the car settings, it's so much easier than before. There's a lot of standard safety features. It's now on version 3.0. All of these things come standard, including proactive driving assist, which will start to brake even if you're not using the adaptive cruise control. There's features including traffic jam assist, which is a semi-automated hands-on system, but just like the navigation and the voice assistant, it requires a subscription. I can't show you the nav right now in action because it hasn't been activated yet, and you'll need to keep paying in order to use it. The 360 cameras are nice that it automatically rotates, but for me, this really isn't a great image. A lot of other cars are doing this a lot better, but what Lexus really does do well is the self-parking feature. When you go into the settings, just look at all the different things you can do. You can even change how wide the road is. You can save spaces. I've never seen this before. I don't usually use these features. Look at that. If it's too far outwards, too far inwards, all of these things you can adjust the computer to do for you, and it'll remember where you are when you're parking. It's not very expensive. It's only a little over $200. So if you have some trouble parallel parking, I guess this is a good feature. It's probably way too many features than you need, but these are just some of the examples of what's in this new infotainment system. The instrument panel can be customized according to the different driving modes. That's pretty much as it was before, and the information you can cycle through is also similar. The difference is these D-pads, the four-way controllers on the steering wheel, can be remapped, and you see what you're doing on the head-up display, not here. So while that's helpful, it's actually in practice a little more confusing than it used to be. Toyota and Lexus have been making hybrids for what, 3 decades now? They do it better than anybody. And by that, I mean all of the smoothness and the transitions between gas and electric are seamless. You don't feel anything, you can barely notice anything. This engine is a bit coarse. Even under mild acceleration, you feel it. It's got a CVT. It does not have an 8-speed automatic transmission like all of the other RX 350 models. So in that way, the engine kind of revs a little out of course with the actual position of the throttle. You get used to that when you drive a hybrid. And really, it's not too bad once you're at speed because everything just really it melts away. Once you're up to speed, no matter what that speed is, the RX is extremely quiet. That's because Lexus has been obsessed with quietness and isolation the way really no other automaker aside from Rolls-Royce. That's an honest statement. Ever since Lexus was founded, that's all they've done, and everyone else has had to catch up to them. So it's no surprise that the RX is very, very good. Turn on the wipers, hey, you can barely hear those. Put down the power windows, you can barely hear that operate. And when you put it back up, the motor slows ever so gently because, well, it would be uncouth in a Lexus to have that slam against the rubber seal. All this just tiny, tiny little details that they go over with during development. And when you're driving one of these, you appreciate it. You don't see it right away, but the more you're in an RX, and especially the hybrid with all this electric assist, with the engine operating on and off, even on the highway, it'll operate in EV mode, and you won't even notice it. All of these little things make this car so comfortable. That is why people keep buying them. That is why it's the #1 selling luxury SUV. The only issue with all that, it really doesn't get out of its own way, not anymore. To me, that sounds more like a Toyota product. And for really a high-end luxury product, I don't really think this belongs. I do question this powertrain in a luxury SUV when hybrids today are typically sportier. If you drop down all the way to a RAV4 hybrid that Toyota sells, you actually get more power with greater efficiency. Here, You get amazing efficiency for a car of this size, but the power and the performance and just the way it responds when you actually want to try to have some fun, it's not having it. There's some multiple driving modes here. There's a sport mode. I'm not going to bother going into the touchscreen to even demonstrate it. It just makes things louder. It does not make anything more exciting. I have not driven the regular RX 350, but to me, that's the one you should go with. It's a turbocharged 4, so there's more low-end torque without the need for an electric motor. Fuel efficiency? No, it's not quite as high. The only reason I would pick the hybrid over the regular 350 is just for gas savings. And maybe that's worth it to you. You have to really ask yourself that question. For me, I would more than happily burn more gas, even if gas was $5 a gallon. Because in a luxury car, I want things to be swifter. I want things to sound better. I just want more of everything. I know I'm going to be paying premium. You still have to put premium gas in this car. So, yeah, for the slow acceleration and also just the kind of languid handling and steering response, doesn't do much for me. So thankfully, Lexus does have a model called the F Sport, and they have retuned dampers. And on the top model, that's the 500H, that's the really high performance hybrid, you get rear wheel steering. And that actually sharpens the responses quite a bit. Because as it stands, yeah, there's grip here, but you never want to explore the limits high in this car. It's not meant to do that. All the competition does, so that's the difference. But all the competition, especially with these size wheels and tires, they can't soak up bumps like this RX. It is so much smoother. Really, it's like the ride quality is exceptional. There's also another thing that's more of a practical performance feature. The all-wheel drive system on this car doesn't really react that quickly from a stop. A lot of times I've chirped the front tires when it's been wet, like it is today. Now the RX 500H has what's called Direct 4 all-wheel drive. That's supposed to be a lot more responsive. It's only on that top RX model. You have to pay a lot of money for it. But compared to my tester, which is just over 64 grand, you're not paying that much more. I think for my money, I'd be going all the way up to the RX 500. And if I couldn't get that, I would just get a competitor. I'd get anything with a turbocharged 6, like the Mercedes GLE. I'd choose a Volvo XC90, even though it sounds a bit louder. In this class, I want more power, and unfortunately the hybrid just does not deliver that. There's paddle shifters, which is kind of neat. It doesn't really do much to help you stop. The brakes are also a bit spongy, but listen to that. You hear nothing. The 2023 Lexus RX starts at $49,150. Ours, with almost every single option, was $64,165. That's a great value against the Mercedes GLE and the Audi Q7. It costs as much as a Lincoln Nautilus, the refresh version, which we haven't yet tested. It's about the same price as the Infiniti QX60, but with a fewer number of seats, and more than an Acura MDX with also a fewer number of seats. The Lexus RX hits almost every box. You get all the comfort, all the space, all the luxury. Everyone loves that nice Lexus quietness inside. For me, the hybrid doesn't go quick enough. The technology isn't well integrated. And I also think that front-end styling, really, it needs a nose job and it's already brand new. I would prefer an RX 500 because I think that delivers a better value. In this segment, hybrids are getting quicker, they're not getting slower. And if you can afford a car like this, you can afford to pay for more gas. That's just my opinion. What do you think? Because we got plenty of other luxury SUV reviews coming up on CarGurus. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, go online to cargurus.com, and we'll see you next time.